Good morning, you guys. Good to be back, TGIF. Ooh. Our unit. Oh my goodness, you guys. Okay, we're going to pretend I am not erasing the board, but enough biology for one morning, right? This is Tassi. And Tassi is going to wipe it off for us. We also have Henry here today. And so, as I was saying, enough biology for today. Let's practice English. And you know, here, there is a list of your names so that I can read. So I can say good morning to Vinícius, to Neto, to Fernando, to Daniel, Manu, Lívia, Laís, Thaís, Calil, Inês, Beatrice, Júlia, João Vitor, Sofia, Ariel, and Isadora. Good morning, you guys. Okay. So, today, we are going to continue on our activities on fighting the flu. And in the end of the class, we're going to use a near-pod experience to learn a little bit about the coronavirus. Because like we mentioned last class, what I found amazing was that we have a unit that talks about influenza, the flu, but everything it says is ironically or coincidentally so related to our lives today, right? Like what we have to do to avoid getting sick, a disease outbreak, and so on. Okay? I hope you guys are fine. I hope you've had a great week. I hope you guys have been practicing English throughout different experiences during your week. Maybe you get to watch your favorite series in English, you listen to music, you watch some interviews, and so on. My daughter now found a website that has many famous movies, and you can see them without subtitles. That's awesome. But anyway, so let's fight the flu today again, okay? Guys, make sure you speak, or at least you type your questions, your answers, okay? To make this moment more interactive and more valuable to all of us, okay? Henrique, next. So we're going to start with a correction from last class homework, and it was an exercise to match the diseases and its name, right? So we had allergies, chicken pox, depression, diabetes, diarrhea, eating disorders, gastritis, both are possible, headache, otitis, and ulcer, okay? So let's check it. Letter A, an acute contagious disease, especially of children, marked by low-grade fever and formation of vesicles and caused by a herpes virus. This is the one we get, what they call vesicles there. We get the bumps in our skin all over the body, and it gets red, and it's contagious. You can't come to school, but it also has a vaccine for it. In English, it's called chicken pox, right? Chicken pox. In Portuguese, it is catapora, okay? So that's letter A. Letter B, a condition of general emotional dejection and withdrawal, sadness, greater and more prolonged than that warranted by any objective reason. So when you have a constant state of feeling down, that is depression, right? It's a disease that's becoming more current these days, right? More common. An intestinal disorder characterized by abnormal frequency and fluidity of fecal evacuations. This one's easy and it's disgusting, and it is diarrhea. A sore on the skin or a mucous membrane accompanied by the disintegration of tissue, the formation of pus, and pus, we say pus in English, etc. It is an I was going to say an ulcer, right? An ulcer. Inflammation of the ear, otitis. And I've read somewhere that this is one of the worst pains a human can feel, right? When they have the levels of pain, they say earache is horrible. A condition that makes a person become ill or develop skin or breathing problems because they have eaten certain foods or been near certain substances. That is an allergy, right? Any of various disorders, as anorexia or bulimia, characterized by severe disturbances in eating habits, eating disorders. The word eating is there. A pain located in the head, as over the eyes, at the temples, or at the base of the skull. A headache, right? A pain in the head, in different areas of the head. Inflammation of the stomach, especially of its mucous membrane, gastritis. Any of several disorders characterized by increased urine production. What do we have left? Diabetes, right? Diabetes. It's the one we have left. And any of several disorders characterized by increased urine production. Okay? Do you guys present any of those conditions presently or ever before? I've had chickenpox when I was a child, and people commonly say that chickenpox, when you have at a young age, it isn't really severe, but when you have it when you're older, it comes much stronger. I don't know if it has any scientific basis to that, but I remember that I had when I was younger, and my brother was a teenager, and I remember his condition was much worse than mine. Mine was like, I couldn't go out because other people would get sick, but I didn't really have fever, whatever. I'm not a person of allergies. I don't have many allergies, not that I know of, even though you know that an allergy can appear at any moment of your life. Sometimes you're not allergic to shrimp until one day when you have shrimp and you're allergic. Headaches. I have headaches every now and then, especially when I don't sleep well, when I read a lot, and that's because I need glasses by now, but like I've mentioned many times, I don't want to accept that I'm older. I need glasses. But I have headaches when I don't sleep very well at night. I also have headaches. And you know, when you have certain episodes of acute headache that keep you from doing anything, that's called migraines, right? But I don't have migraines, I'm just mentioning. Okay, you guys. So let's go to the next exercise. Write the words or expressions from the box in the correct column. Use the glossary if necessary. You have anxiety, arthritis, constipation, depression, insomnia, multiple sclerosis, painkillers, rest, stomachache, stress, stretching, and vitamins. So please, Henry, can you go to the next slide? So there we have the answers, okay? Yeah, there. There you have the answers to the first exercise, the one we have just finished. And then at the bottom, you have the answer for the second exercise, where you had the columns, emotional problems, physical problems, and forms of treatment. So for emotional problems from that list, we had stress, depression, anxiety, and insomnia. For physical problems, arthritis, constipation, multiple sclerosis, and stomachache. And forms of treatment, rest, painkillers, stretching, and vitamins. Guys, there was no need for a relation between the columns, okay? It's not supposed to be the emotional problem, the physical problem it provokes, and then the treatment for that. No. No relationship. It's just to divide into the correct column. Is this an emotional problem, a physical problem, or a kind of treatment? Okay? So that was the result for our homework. And let's get started with our work for the day. Yes, and I can really read that small. No, right? Enrique, can you make it bigger? Thank you, because I can read it. Guys, we went through exercise 1, right? Last class, we did the entire exercise 1. We stopped at number 2, correct? So let's go. Henrique, a gente parou no 2. Tu faz só subir pouquinho? É, só o 2 que a gente tem que fazer. 1 a gente terminou na aula passada. If I am mistaken, let me know, but I think that's it, right? We did number 1, but we didn't do number 2, and then we didn't get to do the next page with the pictures. So passives are often used in songs, and this was the topic from our previous class, right? We were talking about the passive voice, when to use it and how to use it. Remember? Let's do some recalling here. Let's review a little bit. We studied that in the active voice, you have a person or something that is doing an action. So the subject is the person or thing performing the action. Then you have a verb, and then you have the person or thing suffering the action, right? So when I buy something. I am the subject and something is the object. That is active voice. In passive voice, you have the object of the action becoming the subject of the sentence. So it's the same thing as in Portuguese. So I can say, John painted my house, or I can say, my house was painted by John. So notice that the house doesn't perform any actions. The house suffers the action. So in the passive voice, the object, the thing or person that suffers the action, becomes the subject of the sentence. Okay? And you are always going to have the verb to be in the passive voice. So I'm going to say, the house was painted. So the verb to be is in the tense of the action. So if the action happened in the past, the verb to be is going to be in the past. Was. If someone is painting my house, it is present continuous. In the passive voice, the verb to be is going to be in the present continuous. My house is being painted. Okay? So you are always going to have the verb to be, and the verb to be is going to carry the tense of the action itself. But we also discussed when you have to use the passive voice. You don't use the passive voice simply because I want it. I don't feel like using the active voice. I'm going to use the passive voice. That's not the case, right? There is a reason for the passive voice to be used. And this is something that we discussed for a longer time last class. You use the passive voice when the subject is not known or the identity is not important for the matter we are discussing. So like I said, if John is painting my house, but you guys don't know John, and I am not really referring you my painter, because if I am referring my painter, it is important that I say, oh, the guy that's painting my house is fantastic. His name is John. Here's his card. In this case, I'm going to use the active voice because the person, the identity matters to the conversation, right? But when the person is unknown or the person's identity is not important for the matter, then we use the passive voice. That's why, generally, when we use the passive voice, we don't say by, because the person is not relevant. If I am going to say, my house is being painted by someone, it's much simpler to use the active voice, right? But there is one scenario when you use the passive voice and then you use by. That is when you're talking about masterpieces, about bestsellers, about books and songs, because you want to pay extra attention to the thing that was created, but it is also relevant to say the person who created it. Then you say, She Will Be Loved is performed by Maroon 5. Okay? Okay, so let's correct exercise 2. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to type. And Tassi, our board eraser here, the person who's assisting us, she's going to let me know, okay? So anyway, these are 3 songs. And by the way, I love all 3 songs here. Passives are... Oh,
eu achei que só usava o by quando o agente da passiva era óbvio.
I understand why you're saying that, because it holds the same idea as I was saying. Like when you are talking about masterpieces and when you are talking about bestsellers, the idea is that people will share the knowledge on who did it, right? That's why you're saying it obvious. But the reason why you point it out is not because he is obvious, it is general knowledge. The idea is that the masterpiece itself has same relevance and importance as the person who did it, you know? And maybe this is the reason why it's obvious who did it, because they are famous. But the reason you place their name there, it's not because they're obvious, because you will agree with me is that if they're obvious, you wouldn't even mention. The reason why you put them there is because they have similar relevance as the work they've performed, they've done. Do you understand what I'm saying? Pretty much, either or, you're going to get to the same understanding. But the reason why you put the by there, the passive agent, as you were saying, it's not that they are obvious, it's that they are as important as the work they represent. And then aí eu não entendi. Pedro, mas deixa eu te explicar então em português o que eu estou querendo te dizer. Eu não entendi o que você está querendo dizer, mas deixa eu explicar para ti. O que eu estou querendo dizer é assim. Não usava? Mas pronto. Pois deixa eu te dizer. É assim, ó. Que é o que a gente está tentando explicar aqui. A gente faz muito exercício na escola, que é pegar a frase na voz ativa e transformar para a voz passiva. Aí, quando a gente faz isso, a gente tem uma preocupação de colocar, inclusive, o por, né? Porque aí você vai passar a frase inteira. Então, é assim, o pintor pintou a minha casa. Aí você vai colocar na voz passiva, minha casa foi pintada por um pintor, né? Isso serve só como exercício, para você identificar as partes da frase. Mas o que a gente reforça no estudo do inglês, mas que a ideia é muito semelhante com o português, apesar de as práticas, às vezes, da língua permitirem algumas coisas, né? É que quando é que você usa a voz passiva no inglês, de fato? Quando a pessoa que executa a ação, ela não é importante no diálogo. Por 2 motivos, como eu estava dizendo. Ou ela não é importante porque ela é desconhecida. Então, por exemplo, meu carro foi roubado. Ele foi roubado, eu não sei quem roubou. Então, não tem razão para eu usar a voz ativa. Eu digo assim, um ladrão roubou meu carro. Eu posso até dizer. Mas como a pessoa que executou a ação ela é desconhecida, a ênfase é no fato. Então, eu digo, meu carro foi roubado. Se fosse para eu dizer, meu carro foi roubado por um ladrão, eu falava logo na voz ativa, um ladrão roubou meu carro. Então, o fato de você usar a voz passiva tem uma razão. Por que eu escolhi usar a voz passiva? Que, na verdade, ela tem uma estrutura até mais longa. Por que eu não uso logo a voz ativa? Eu faço a escolha pela voz passiva porque o sujeito ou é desconhecido ou a identidade dele não é relevante. Certo? Então, é aquela história que a gente estava conversando até assim. Em português, a gente usa uma expressão que em inglês não faria sentido, quer dizer assim, vocês notaram que eu cortei o cabelo? Eu cortei o cabelo. Em português, isso substitui uma voz passiva. Porque o que eu estou querendo comunicar a vocês é que o que é importante é o fato que o cabelo está cortado. Mas quem cortou, ou vocês desconhecem, e por isso eu não vou citar, ou quem cortou não é relevante nesse contexto, eu só quero chamar a atenção para o meu cabelo. Vocês estão entendendo? Então, aí eu uso a voz passiva. Em inglês, eu não poderia dizer eu cortei o cabelo, porque aí é que eu estou dizendo que cada língua tem suas particularidades. Em inglês, se eu disser eu cortei o cabelo, você vai entender que eu mesma cortei o meu cabelo. Você não vai ter esse entendimento que a gente tem em português. De você dizer, cortei o cabelo. Ou você perguntar, tu cortou o cabelo? Sem querer dizer que foi a própria pessoa que fez. Em inglês, isso daria a entender que eu estou perguntando se você mesmo foi quem cortou o seu cabelo. Para garantir que eu só estou falando da ação e o sujeito é irrelevante, eu perguntaria, seu cabelo foi cortado? E aí eu usaria a voz passiva. E o by aí, Pedro, ele é irrelevante. Porque eu já optei pela voz passiva justamente porque o autor da ação era desconhecido ou não era importante para o contexto. Certo? Então é isso. Agora, quando vocês encontrarem aqueles exercícios que dizem assim, passe da voz ativa para a voz passiva, aí você vai lá e coloca o by no final. Porque o exercício está pedindo só uma troca. Mas a verdade é que na hora que você usa a voz passiva, por que eu escolhi uma estrutura que é mais extensa? Porque a ênfase é no fato e o sujeito ele é desconhecido ou irrelevante. Aí tem uma exceção, quando a gente fala de grandes obras, quando a gente fala de grandes livros, ou grandes quadros, ou grandes construções, né? A gente diz, por exemplo, a Catedral de Brasília foi construída, foi desenhada por Niemeyer. Aí veja que é uma voz passiva que casa com o agente está lá, né? Porque quando a gente fala de grandes obras, de grandes trabalhos, é como se a gente quisesse mostrar que eu estou enfatizando a obra, mas o autor é tão importante quanto. Então a gente usa uma voz passiva que aparece lá quem fez, por quem. Certo? Deu para entender? Então é isso. É porque o que eu quis muito chamar a atenção para vocês é porque normalmente quando a gente estuda a voz passiva, a gente estuda como um exercício gramatical, né? Mas aqui eu estou querendo apresentar para vocês uma perspectiva comunicativa, uma perspectiva da função mesmo linguística. Então há uma razão para você escolher a voz passiva. E não é simplesmente eu uso uma ou a outra quando eu quiser, não. Se cabe, se é importante quem fez a ação, gente, a voz ativa é muito mais simples, é muito mais objetiva, né? Eu vou dizer assim, o Pedro fez uma pergunta, porque é muito mais fácil do que dizer uma pergunta foi feita pelo Pedro. Então, como é importante quem perguntou, eu uso a voz ativa. Quando eu usar a voz passiva, é assim, se alguém me perguntar no final da aula, Alhandra, a aula teve quantas perguntas? Aí eu posso dizer, 5 perguntas foram feitas, porque quem fez não importa. Certo? Ok? So, back to English, but if you guys have questions, please ask. I love when you guys ask, because I don't like speaking. 2, passives are often used in songs. 2, here are extracts from famous lyrics. Match the columns. So I like all 3 songs. I was blessed to be loved, and then you have to complete the sentence. Ask her if she wants to stay a while. I love that song too. And I should have known better than to cheat a friend. So anyway, the first song, I was blessed to be loved by someone as wonderful as you. See, this is a case of a passive voice used only for its poetry. I was blessed to be loved by someone as wonderful as you. It's the same as saying, you blessed me with your love, right? So I was blessed to be loved by someone as wonderful as you. Please don't go. You guys know this song. It's old, but you know it. So, 1 with letter B. 2, ask her if she wants to stay a while. and she will be loved. So here, she will be loved. Who will love her? It's not important. The importance is that she will be loved. Okay? If the person loving her was important to that matter, I would say, this person will love her. And the final one, I should have known better than to cheat a friend and waste the chance that I had been given. So the chance was given to me, right? So the chance that I had been given. And this is also a beautiful song from the 80s, Careless Whisper. Okay? Okay, next. And this exercise we didn't get to do last class. We're just going to correct it. That one really. But then you have to really blow it up because I can't see it. Thank you, Enrique. Okay. Use the passive structures in the sentences below. The first one is done for you. Did he type the memos? Were the memos typed? You see? You are the boss in the company. You said, people, I need the memos typed. I'm not wondering who is going to type them. So now I just want to know, were the memos typed? I'm not saying, did this person type the memo? No, because it's not important. I just want to know if the memos were typed. So were the memos typed? Attention. Past simple. Did he type? In passive voice, the verb to be is going to be in the simple past, right? So were. Were the memos typed? The second one. They aren't watching the parade. Present continuous. They aren't watching the parade. So the parade isn't, because it is present continuous, right? So I have to put the verb to be, isn't being watched. Okay? The parade isn't being watched. So the person who's not watching the parade is not important, but the parade isn't being watched. C, do people speak Portuguese in Brazil? So the object is Portuguese. Portuguese is going to be the subject now, right? And the sentence is in the simple present. So I have to use is. Is Portuguese spoken in Brazil? Now, Pedro, I think this matches the scenario you were saying. Who speaks Portuguese in Brazil? The people, right? So the people is an obvious piece of information. So I don't have to mention who's speaking the language, right? So I'll just say, is Portuguese spoken in Brazil? Of course it's not by the animals. Of course it's not by the birds. It's by the people, so I don't have to mention it. Perfect. So is Portuguese spoken in Brazil? The company has fired all the employees. Present perfect. The company has fired. So I have to use present perfect in the passive too. So it's going to be all the employees have, because it's perfect, then to be, because the passive voice needs the verb to be. The employees have been fired. The employees have been fired. Okay? And letter E. Henrique, tu sobe só um pouquinho a tela? Mais, para aparecer a última imagem. That's it. Letter E. I hadn't, and that's past perfect, I hadn't called the plumber. I hadn't called the plumber. So the plumber hadn't, because it's past perfect, been, because you have to have the verb to be in the passive. So the plumber hadn't been called. And this is the typical scenario when we are responsible, but we don't want people to remember that we were the ones responsible. So we use the passive voice like it's general knowledge, right? I mean, it's not important that I wasn't the one who called. The thing is, the plumber hadn't been called. Okay? I don't know if I have the answers typed. Passa, Henrique, só para ver se... Não coloquei. Could you follow the answers? Do you want me to write them? Because we don't have the slide with those answers, okay? But for exercise 4, I'm going to write the answers, okay? To help you out. Please, Henrique, can you blow up number 4? Yes, there you go. Now use the active structure to rewrite the sentences below. The first one is done for you. So now we're going to do the opposite thing, right? We're going to change it to active voice. Then you are going to see that they are going to have bye, because in this scenario for the exercise. Okay, pay attention that in English, when you use the simple past, you must have the time. I can only use the simple past when I am telling when something happened. When I have a past situation, but I am not saying when it happened, I have to use present perfect. Remember this? Let me give you an example. I can ask you, did you go to Iguatemi yesterday? Did you go because I want to know if you performed this action at this precise moment in the past? But if you are new in Fortaleza and I want to know if you know Iguatemi, I'm going to ask you, have you been to Iguatemi? I cannot say, did you go to Iguatemi? Because the time in the past is not important, just the action, okay? This is going to be the difference in this scenario. If I say the company fired the employees, I have to say when. So, during the quarantine, we are facing lots of financial problems. So the company fired 2,000 employees this month. Simple past, because I'm telling you when. But if I don't know when, I just want to talk about the fact, I can say, I know that because of the whole scenario we're living, many companies have been downsizing. So 2,000 people have been fired, or the company has fired 2,000 people. I'm not saying when. I'm just saying that this happened. Then I use present perfect. Is that clear? Tá? Só para dizer se está ok, vocês vão responder se está ok, tá? Eu posso até explicar em português também, gente, para ficar mais claro. O present perfect, essa estrutura has fired, por exemplo, ela existe no inglês, mas ela não tem semelhante em português, né? Porque para usar o passado simples em inglês, eu tenho uma ação no passado que ocorre em um momento determinado do passado. Então, para usar o simple past, a ideia de tempo tem que estar claro. A frase tem que, o contexto tem que deixar claro. Eu posso perguntar assim, você foi para o Iguatemi ontem? Aí é passado simples. Porque só me interessa saber se você esteve no Iguatemi ontem. O passado, a situação, ela está amarrada ao tempo. Passado simples em inglês, tá? Agora, se eu quero saber se você já esteve no Iguatemi, você já foi no Iguatemi? Apesar de ser uma situação passada, eu não estou amarrando a ação ao tempo. Essas situações em inglês, elas têm que aparecer em present perfect. É o tempo que a gente usa, certo? Então, por isso, há uma diferença entre eu dizer a empresa demitiu, eu teria que dizer quando. The company fired 2,000 employees yesterday, last year, last month. Mas se eu quero só comunicar assim, essa empresa está passando por uma crise, ela já demitiu 2.000 pessoas. Não interessa quando, aí the company has fired. Ok? Tudo ação no passado, tudo ação no passado. Uma amarrada ao tempo e a outra sem tempo determinado. Ok? Ok. Então vamos lá. This one we're going to do the opposite. We're going to change from passive to active. Therefore, the by will be there, because otherwise we wouldn't know how to do it, right? So, the light bulb was invented by Thomas Edison, and here we have one of the scenarios. The person is as important as its finding, right? In active voice, Thomas Edison invented the light bulb, okay? Simple past because the verb to be is in the simple past. The museum has been visited by millions of people. See? Past. People visited the museum. How many people? Millions of people. But when did they visit? It's not relevant. So it's not simple past. It's present perfect. The museum has been visited by millions of people. Millions of people have visited the museum. Do you want me to write it? I'm going to write here, but if you say I don't have to, then I'll stop it. I hope you guys understand my handwriting. So B, Thomas Edison invented the light bulb. The light bulb. C, bulb. Sorry, guys. Bulb. C, millions of people, right? Millions of people have visited the museum, right? Is it the museum? I'm doing by memory, guys. Let me see if I got it right. Yes. The email could be sent by the secretaries, could be sent. So I have a modal. The modal will be present in the active voice too. So I'll say the secretaries could send an email, the emails. And cocoa butter is made of cocoa, chocolate, and milk. You see here you have of instead of by. Still, we are going to use the active voice because we have ingredients, materials, right? So it's not like they really perform the action, but still they can be the subject of the active voice. So I can say cocoa, chocolate, and milk make cocoa butter, right? So help me out here because I don't remember. Cocoa, chocolate, and milk make cocoa butter. Cocoa butter. That's why I was finding it strange. Okay. Okay, you guys. Is it okay? Do you see? This is a very specific scenario where you have of instead of by, but still you can change it into active. The idea is that these three combined, they make cocoa butter. But still, we couldn't say that they are the performers of the action. That's why we can't have by. Okay? And then we have the text. Read the text about Seattle and fill in the blanks with the passive structure of the verbs in parentheses. You guys, I would love to visit Seattle. I think it's so beautiful, and that Sears Towers is amazing, right? But I have never been to Seattle. Due to time limits, I'm not going to read the entire text, okay? But I have the answers to present to you. So, many years ago, I was born in Seattle, Washington, USA. Seattle, located in the northwestern corner of the USA, in the northwest corner of the USA. Now, is Seattle still there? Yes, it is. So, it's passive voice, but in the present, right? Because it is still there. So, Seattle is located. And here is an interesting example. Why do I say Seattle is located? Why do I use the passive voice? How could I do this in active voice? I can't do this in active voice. There isn't a person who's responsible for locating Seattle there, right? Still, Seattle doesn't perform the action. So I have to say it in passive voice. Seattle is located. And I could never have by, right? By God, and by humanity, society, who maybe the person who decided the city was going to be there, whatever. You understand what I'm trying to say, right? So I'm just going to present the answers, okay, guys? Henrique, pode ir para o próximo slide. Because I have these answers here for you. So the answers would be, is located, have been made, is, because I would have to see the sentence, known, should be noted, was founded, is owned, is located, have been manufactured, and is positioned. Okay? So these are the answers for the homework, because I'm sure you guys did the homework, because you pay extra attention to English. Henrique, next. We're almost there. Okay, so with this, we're getting to the end of fighting the flu, right? And we have a text on influenza. Before we read the text, I want to point out that we have the source for the text. Sobe só pouquinho, Henrique, que eu quero ver só a fonte do texto aí embaixo. And we have a text that is, and it says so in the book, from the American Army or Navy. It was an official document, and it is very old. It is from the start of the 20th century. If I am not mistaken, it's from 1916, when there was an outbreak of influenza, a pandemic of influenza, right? And what is going to amaze us as we read this text is the fact that some of the information seems so updated. It's like we have been preparing for what we're going through now our entire lives. It's amazing how close in meaning and in, how can I say, in measures that we have to take these two texts are. So we're going to get to read this text. We're now going to stop for our break, okay? And as we get back, we're going to do the reading of the text and the exercises that follow, okay? So thank you guys. If you want to start the reading before me, that's perfect. And I'll see you in 15 minutes, okay? See you soon. Bye-bye.